Right, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. I do apologise. I do apologise. We're good now. Sui, sorry guys, I apologise. I'm back. We're live. How are we doing? How are we doing? Sui in the chat, Nordic in the chat. No trouble Ben, no party. I know. For anyone that's watching the live now, I did do another one before, but I had to stop it because there was some audio issues. So for anyone that's watching this not live and is watching this back, because a lot of you people do, a lot of people watch this after the stream, which I massively appreciate and love you all. We had a bit of an audio issue where you could hear like me 3 times because I had the tab open on another window and I couldn't find it, so I couldn't mute myself. So we're starting again because I want to deliver the best possible stream to the people that watch this in the chat and obviously afterwards as well. So I hope you guys can appreciate that. Morning, everyone. I hope you're all good. There is a lot to chat about today. Obviously, we got the Chiesa sort of mini bomber last night, followed by Fabrizio Romano's saying that nothing's really happening, which I think we all knew that, really, to be honest. But we'll go into that amongst some other stuff. I want to talk about Dejan Kulusevski. I want to talk about his quotes. He did a brilliant interview with Alistair Gold. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about Ben Davies. I want to talk about his excellent interview that he did as well. I want to talk about Desiree Doué because I don't want to do it to myself again. I just want to. Is there a chance? Who knows? I want to talk about Richarlison. I want to talk about Brian Hill obviously leaving. I want to talk about Lucas Bergvall. And I want to talk about my channel and my content as well. I want to have a bit of a chat about like what you guys want to see, so we can do that at the end and sort of get involved. Because I've got some great ideas coming up, but I want to know what you guys want to see as well, for sure. So there's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about today, and let's kick it off with transfers. Hello to everybody in the chat, Austin. Ben on the triple effect. I know. You could literally hear me like 3 times in the previous stream. If we sign Dorgu, says Gollum, will he be loaned back like a doggy was? Is there Gordu links that I should be talking about in this stream? Is there more Gordu links? Anybody let me know in the chat and I can easily pull that up. Andy MC, good morning, big man. Excellent episode of the lab yesterday. Thank you very much. That's the lab came out on Sunday. Me and Flav recorded an episode on Mikey Moore, so make sure you're going to listen to that on Spotify. Darren and doing Will's in the chat. Me and Will are actually recording at about 1 o'clock, and there'll be a new episode of Darren and doing out this afternoon as well. So you get a double helping of me today. And there'll be a YouTube video on my channel later on ranking the best Premier League wonder kids. So that'll be out later. But me and Will will be having a chat for Darren and doing. So make sure you go and subscribe to Darren and doing. What do we think of Chiesa, says Psycho with a sword. So a good place to start is probably Federico Chiesa. No contacts taking place between Tottenham and Juventus for Federico Chiesa, said Fabrizio Romano. Spurs will sign one more player up front, but no talks and negotiations are taking place with Chiesa. Interesting that. Michael Giles from Australia in the chat. So we obviously got this news last night from Plettigol, the man that has taunted us for so long, who kind of taunted us for so long last summer with the Harry Kane news. Tottenham Hotspur with a concrete interest in signing Federico Chiesa this transfer window. First talks with his agent Fali Ramdani have started, but no concrete negotiations at this stage. Obviously, we had many kind of Spurs sources over the last week essentially saying that there isn't really anything in this. This was also from some Giova Albanese. The agent of Juventus star Federico Chiesa has recently held talks with Premier League teams Chelsea and Tottenham. As of now, Juventus want 25 million to 30 million euros to sell the player, but they could be willing to go negotiate further. This is how it felt all along for me. It just felt like agent talk. It really did. Obviously, Alistair Gold sort of came out and said, "Well, why on earth would his representatives be travelling to the UK to chat to Tottenham when Johan Lang, Ange Postecoglou, Daniel Levy, etc. are all in Japan and Korea?" Why that wouldn't happen? Who would he be talking to? As Alistair Gold said in his video yesterday, would he be talking to the cleaning lady? Probably. So there was literally no one to chat to in England at the moment. So look, we've talked about Chiesa a lot. Would it be a good signing? I think probably. Would I be that bothered if we missed out on him? No, not really. And I actually think the signing of Chiesa would potentially represent the fact that we've actually missed out on some of our better targets. Yeah, I'm not. There's not anything in this for me. Zeus, I wanted to pull up something Zeus said, but I don't know if I actually added it to a tab. Oh yeah, here, yeah. So this was kind of Zeus's. Obviously, a lot of you know Zeus. Zeus sometimes pops in the chat, so if you hear Zeus, give us a wave. We had a bit of back and forth on Twitter last week when the Chiesa links first came about. His suggestion then, this was on July 25th, that Tottenham have batted off any suggestion they're interested in Chiesa. So unless that's changed in the last few days, I'd probably ignore the noise. Neto, on the other hand, definitely a lot of interest there. And again yesterday, or was this morning? This was this morning. Tottenham coming out strongly denying the Chiesa links now gives me hope for the moves that are the moves for our main targets are still going to plan. Patience, composure, calma. Okay, calma. Exactly. I think Zeus is completely right. So hopefully that does kind of give some a bit of assurance in terms of where we're at. Fabrizio Romano, like I said, I've got so many tabs open. Spurs will sign one more player up front. I think there's a good chance we maybe sign a couple again. Different people saying different things, so we'll see. John Michael says apparently Chiesa would want 300 grand a week. Levy won't pay that, and I don't think he should either. Like, I don't think he should. Maybe Chiesa needs the best cleaner lady for him. Good point. Adam from the Anglo-Italian pod. Juve want him off the books to save on wages that they want to reinvest into the squad. Motta has already spoken to Chiesa to say it doesn't seem as part of his plan. Such a shame. Yeah, it is a massive shame given his injuries. And I think that's kind of what we've been feeling the whole time, is that they just want him out, and I think his agent is trying to get a payday basically for himself and obviously for the player. Look, Chiesa will definitely move. I just don't think it will be to Tottenham. As much as if Tottenham did sign one more attacker after Chiesa, if Chiesa did happen, or on top of Chiesa, etc. Yeah, I don't see it as. Like I said, I actually think if we signed Chiesa as the attacker, I think that would represent almost a bit of a disappointing window for Tottenham, in the sense that it just would point to me that we haven't signed our best target or best targets. So yeah, interesting one. I think. Look, I wouldn't say that it's necessarily over. I don't think this is going to go away. But what we love to celebrate is where is he? Where's he gone? Where's the geezer gone? Oh, I've got too many tabs open and I haven't organised them properly. What I was going to say is what we love to celebrate is Pletty goal in the mud. That is what we absolutely love to celebrate. But I just wanted to bring something up to represent that. But I can't find it, actually. Anyway, we will move on from Federico Chiesa. We will move on from Chiesa, and we'll talk about something else. First of all, make sure you go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. There is going to be another video on the channel today. We're going to be ranking the Premier League's best wonder kids. We are going to also this week. We're going to be ranking all of Tottenham's Premier League, all of Tottenham's transfer rumours as well. We're going to do a nice little tier list for that. I've also got an idea, a bit like what the Extra Inch did, to almost do like a bit of a squad building exercise on stream with you guys. Yeah, so we're going to do that, and there's going to be plenty of other videos. There's going to be one of these on Thursday for the K-League All-Stars game, a bit of a What We Learned live stream. There's also going to be a live watch-along on TikTok as well. And also, speaking of TikTok, make sure you go and follow the TikTok page on the march to 30k, and also trying to grow this account as well. This is the second channel. We're going to try and get this to 10k followers as soon as possible, just posting some more polished clips on there. And also go and give me a follow on Twitter. So we've talked about Chiesa. Let's go to the chat quickly before we move on. Travis, how you doing, mate? Travis, I need to reply to your message. I apologise. The idea of signing Chiesa is better than actually signing Chiesa, IMO, especially given how it blocked the pathway for Mikey Moore. Yeah, can't argue with that at all. Would you do a Football Manager series? Yes, that is actually in the plan. That is in the plan, 100%. Ben Cloud says, if we're looking for a forward, surely it's a number 9. Johnson and Kulu on right wing and Son and Vern on the left. Also got exciting youngsters for covering Europe. It's interesting that the idea of a striker being a priority for Spurs is something that's been batted away a little bit, so I'm not too sure, mate. Gary Hunter says, I actually really don't think that Fab has the best links right now. Yeah, maybe. I heard that we were waiting for Palace to get a replacement for Eze, but it's wait and see. I mean, it looks like they're going to sign Ismail Assar. Spaghetti Mafia Euro 2020 Chiesa was cold. He was indeed. Seems like Chelsea signing. Yeah, I can kind of see that. I think Kulusevski, Jojo Derbyshire says, I think if Kulusevski can carry on doing well up front as the false 9 role, I think we won't go for a number 9. Let's talk about Dejan Kulusevski then. Actually, before we do that, Gary Hunter says, WLB. Who's WLB? Saying that Eze and Neto in conjunction was always the plan, not one or the other. That'd be amazing. Let's talk about Dejan Kulusevski because there were some very interesting quotes. He did an amazing interview with Alistair Gold, which is now out, and some of the quotes have come together from it. There's more juicy stuff than this, but I think it's just a good place to start. Obviously, this is Kulusevski's second season as a full permanent Spurs player, even though obviously he's been here a long time. Bucket Hat Sam in the chat, what a fucking guy. He said, so Dejan Kulusevski was asked by Alistair Gold if he's feeling settled going into his second season as a permanent Tottenham player. Yeah, very much at home. Like, I'm really 100% today, getting better. I'm really 100% today, getting better. I just want to be much better. I want to be so good and help my team even more. Just so I think about today, I'm just trying to live every day at my best. Kulusevski's mentality is something that I absolutely adore. Like, again, I think during this period where that photo's from last season, where he kind of stepped into that number 10 position, and that's kind of what I want to talk about because he speaks about that really well with Alistair Gold. Where he stepped into that number 10 role, I think you saw his mentality there even more because he really kind of grabbed games by the scruff of the neck for Tottenham. You know, last-minute equalisers against Man City, that game against Nottingham Forest where he kind of single-handedly dragged us to that win with that amazing cross for Richarlison, and obviously the goal that he scored himself in that game. And obviously, again, that was kind of at the time his wife was having a baby, as you can obviously see in the celebration, so it's good that he's feeling kind of more settled at Tottenham. And I absolutely love Decky. I think he's such a key part of this squad going forward. I think, as someone mentioned in the chat there, who was it? I just read your comment out. Jojo Derbyshire. About Kulusevski, if he can play, or if he can be an option for us in that false 9 role, I think his versatility adds so much to this squad. This was such an amazing interview, and Alistair Gold, if you go and watch Alistair Gold's video, where he does like the daily videos, not daily, but like the videos where he sort of summarises everything. He did one in Korea yesterday, and he said that he interviewed Archie Gray, Dejan Kulusevski, Lucas Bergvall, and Pedro Porro, I think. And I think Veliz was there, but I don't think he spoke to him at this event, which I'm sure you've all seen on Spurs' Twitter, where they go to like a local Japanese children's hospice, I believe, and they're playing with the kids. He spoke about the fact that Archie Gray, he spoke to Gray as well, that was it, if I didn't say that. He spoke about how well Archie Gray spoke, but he also spoke about Kulusevski, and he said he's just a brilliant interview. Like, listening to him talk, he's so mature, etc. And that's what I've always loved about Kulusevski, is his mindset and his mentality. He also talked about with his relationship with Son Heung-Min. Like, guys, there's more juicy stuff than this, but I kind of want to get everything he said across. Again, you can go and read the full interview with Alistair Gold. He did it. I don't want to just be nabbing what he's saying, but. So he spoke about Sonny. He said his relationship is developing, especially outside the pitch. I feel like we're becoming really good friends and we respect each other a lot and we love to work. We want to push the whole group forward. So I think it's a blessing to play with him, and I think we can still achieve more than we have done. I think quietly, Kulusevski is almost becoming one of the more senior players in this squad at just how old is he? 23? Sorry, I'm just going to have some of my coffee. I hope you all brought your coffees into the chat as well. It's, I know it's a bit of a late morning one. We're not always an early riser for these streams, but I do think Kulusevski is almost quietly becoming one of the more experienced players and one of the leaders in this team, which is mad, really, when you consider how young he still is. Like he said about it there, we love to work. We want to push the whole group forward. Obviously, he's talking kind of as that forward line, that forward unit, obviously with Sonny. Okay, sorry guys, we're back. Okay, we're back. So, what was I saying? He's the biggest star of the club. So I just think he's doing a great job. He's just himself, which I think is obviously the main part of it was Sonny. Like, he is just Sonny, and that's what's been beautiful to see. That's not gone away as the captain. And I think that's what makes him such a great leader. Zeus is in the chat. Sam Cornish. Oh, my word. The Spurs kind of Twitter, the Avengers are out here. Zeus and Sam Cornish. Sorry about the stream going down, guys. I am back now. I think that's what's been the best thing with Sonny is that he has just been himself this whole time as the leader. And I think that's much more relatable as kind of a captain in a way, especially in terms of the modern side of the game. It's what you kind of love to see. Let me know in the chat, guys, if you can hear me again, by the way. I apologise for that. Zeus and Sam Spurs. Okay, you can hear me then. We're good. So I thought that was great. He also spoke about Lucas Bergvall. But before we talk about his quotes on Bergvall, apparently Heidi's always looking forward to the coffee break. Twitter's become a cesspit of these bot accounts and stuff, isn't it? Tottenham midfielder Lucas Bergvall. We want to qualify for the Champions League, and the goal is to win the league. That's what we love to see. And can we? Could we? Not to start this all again. And I'm sure on the first few episodes of The Fighting Cock, we will all be saying, could we? But could we? Could we win the league? I mean, that's the ambition, isn't it? We want to qualify for the Champions League, and the goal is to win the league. And if you set the goal out to win the league, then you're more likely. What's the cringy quote of, if you aim for the moon, you're likely to fall somewhere amongst the stars? And that's why it's good to have lofty ambitions. And Postecoglou has had that, definitely. He sees the goal as to kind of win the league and compete for that. So, yeah. Why can't the players feel like that as well? So on Bergvall, he said he's very good. Obviously, everyone's seen him. Of course, I haven't seen him at this level and everything. We have to give him time. We have to give him time for a lot of new challenges. But what's important is that the talent is there and the work rate. He's a good guy, so we, the coaches and the players, have to be there for him to help him in any way if he needs it. Maybe he doesn't need it and he can go straight to the top from the beginning. I think there is this belief that Bergvall can definitely kind of go to the top. And also, I think the thing with Kulusevski, kind of what I was talking about earlier, Bradley's just said it there. Kulus is an absolute stallion. The sooner people realise how good this guy is, the better. I totally agree with that. I was talking, Sam, I think just before you joined, in terms of stuff that you maybe missed, I was talking about Kulusevski as almost the leader in this team, which is mad to say at 24. I think someone corrected me in the chat. Which, I mean, even then, he's still a very senior player. And I've got something to show you in terms of the average age of the squad and stuff like that. So I think having Bergvall almost come in as a bit of a little brother in a way. Like Alistair Gold said that on this tour they've kind of been inseparable. Them two, they're always together. They're kind of joined at the hip. And Kulu is almost like his older brother in a way, which I think is great. I think that's really great, and I think that's great for Kulusevski. Because as well, Kulusevski, I made a video on TikTok last week talking about now Højbjerg has gone, who is kind of going to be the scapegoat in this squad, right? And I think Kulusevski has been that for a while in terms of people don't agree on how good he is. People don't agree on what his best positions. Some people think that he should be sold, which I think is crazy. I think I said the same thing with Bissouma as well. And I think Bissouma and Kulusevski are different in the sense that I think Bissouma, maybe you could argue that he took his eye off the ball a little bit last season, and maybe that kind of contributed to the downturn in form, potentially. Again, that's maybe just because he plays with this kind of relaxed demeanour. Maybe that's unfair, who knows? But obviously there was a drop-off. Obviously Kulusevski didn't quite play at the levels that we maybe saw last season towards the end, potentially. I said that I think Archie Gray is such a great signing for Bissouma because it almost refocuses him just like that, in the sense of, right, I've got someone coming right behind me, in the kind of the order for potentially trying to play in my position. But also, like we saw with Sarr, when Sarr came into the team with Bissouma at the start of last season, Bissouma was that leader. He was like, right, I've got to take you under my wing. I've got to be the guy in this midfield to take the pressure off the young lad. And I think that was great for Bissouma, and I think it'll be great for Bissouma again with Gray. I've been really impressed with Bissouma in pre-season so far. And again, it's not quite the same logic with Kulusevski, because I don't think Kulusevski needs refocusing, because I think his mentality is top. But I think having Bergvall come in as kind of that younger brother, I really like that for Kulu. Travis, agree with Kulu being a leader through work rate too. The amount he constantly runs and presses and plays every minute is incredibly underrated. He's a Trojan. I think Bardi last season on the extra inch kind of coined him as a Trojan. And I think that's so apt. And I think that's the underrated things that people don't see about Decky is his work rate. And you can kind of take that for granted a little bit. And I don't think we should at all. I absolutely love him. I think, again, I know he's not been maybe at the level that we saw in that first loan period and at the start of the season after. I still remember that game against Southampton, the first game of the season. He was unbelievable a couple of years ago under Conte. But again, he was great last season for periods and just didn't quite find that consistency. But I think he's such an undervalued leader in this team in terms of what he does off the ball, in terms of his work rate and setting examples. So I think this is great for him. I think might have been some more quotes about Bergvall as well. Yeah, there was some more. He said, Alistair Gold asked him about being teammates with Bergvall. He said, honestly, it feels amazing. It's just nice for me, just to speak Swedish, to have a brother that did everything that I did when I was young because he's from the same club. Obviously, Bergvall and, forgive me, someone be able to tell me the name in the chat, the name of the academy that Bergvall, Kulusevski, Victor Gyökeres and Amanda Nilden, who is one of Tottenham Hotspur women's players, all came up through. They all come up through the same academy. Someone will, I'm sure, Travis, you'll probably know. Someone will know in the chat the name of the academy. To have a brother that did everything I did when I was young because he's from the same club. We had the same friends, same coaches when we were young. So, it's cool and life is crazy. You never thought a couple of years ago, but now we're here together and competing to win together. He's a really good player, really good guy, and I'm happy that the club brought him in. Again, I'd go back to Djurgårdens. That's it. Oh no, Djurgårdens was the club. Brommaperkiana. Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, that's the one. Djurgårdens was the club that Bergvall played for. Brommaperkiana. I've got a friend who lives in Sweden. I'll be able to ask him. But that's the one. That's who they played for in the academy. So yeah, I think I always think back to Kulusevski's Players Tribune interview, where he was kind of talking about life in more of like a very holistic sense and talking about his journey to get here. And I think you can, I don't know, like I think you can see that in the way that he speaks. He's so kind of mature, and I think his kind of journey as a person is very important in terms of his journey as a footballer as well. I think he always kind of references that. I think he's very aware of kind of his backstory. I just love him. Sam Cornish, fun fact, Gyökeres and Nilden used to date. Wow. Well, I did not know that. I mean, could it cause problems if Spurs were to sign Gyökeres? I mean, they're both incredibly good-looking people. Amanda Nilden is, she's a very nice-looking lady, and Victor Gyökeres is a handsome guy, chiseled, So that would be a very good-looking couple. Very nice, good-looking. How do you guys know that name? Incredible. Yeah, the guys know. It was in my head. I just forgot it. These Spurs fan base are they're clued up. That's for sure. Right. This is kind of what I wanted to talk about with Decky the most. Was his kind of he talked about the change in position. So he talked about playing as a number 10. I think last year was the first time I played as a number 10 in the Premier League so that people could see what I could do from that position. This upcoming season, I've been playing in the middle in training sessions and in the beginning of the games, but I also know that sometimes we'll have to play other roles and I will have to be prepared to do everything because ultimately the only goal is to win. Again, coming back to that mentality. So it doesn't matter where you play, you just have to do what's best for the team always. He also spoke about something very interesting with Postecoglou. Where was it? He sort of talked about the training. It was so good. Where is it? I talked about the training. Oh, it was so good. Again, I'll find it in a sec. It will be in this thread from the Spurs Express. I'm sure I had it. He said this club has to be challenging at the top. James Maddison came out and said something very similar, I think, in the press conference with Ange the other day. And I think he showed glimpses, and I think we showed glimpses of that last year. But we have to do it for one whole year, and I think that's maybe the harder part of it. Not play good for maybe a month and then go down a little bit. I think you have to do it for the whole year, like other teams like Man City and Arsenal did it last year. So that is what we're trying to train. I noticed already. Okay, maybe this was it. I noticed already a little bit of the change in training. We are very, very focused on doing much better than last year. That leads me on nicely. There was another brilliant quote that I wanted to talk about. This was it. I found it. Perfect. He said, last year was much more just play, play and do your things. But now it's much more, they've been thinking a lot about training sessions and trying to make everyone understand from what they want in the team. So last year, it seemed like there was more freedom to kind of, right, this is the way we want to play, go and express yourselves. But now it feels more structured, I guess is what they're saying. And again, that in turn kind of helps you hopefully compete over a whole season. And we got it, lads. We got it. This is what I want to talk about. Shout out to this guy, Smizzo, Smizzo8202. He dug up this quote from April. He tweeted this in April, talking about Postecoglou. I don't know when this quote was actually from. But he said, I don't know what game this was after. He said the Australian admitted after the game that he's still not going to... This might have been after Newcastle, actually, thinking about the date, but it doesn't really matter. The Australian admitted after the game that he's still not going into exhaustive tactical detail with his team yet. This season has been mostly about imprinting the style of play he demands so clearly that it becomes instinct, and then he can really draw into certain facets of how they will play, which will bring the next exciting step, of the Postecoglou era. It's a constant evolution of this team, he explained. It's very much broad strokes. It's not about the detail at the moment. It's about trying to develop the identity of what we want to be as a team, and then the game model doesn't change because of one or a couple of performances, and the players are responding to that. And I think that links, as this guy has kind of joined the dots, this kind of links nicely to what Kulusevski's been saying in this interview. I definitely think there's going to be a much more focus on the kind of tactical aspect and the finer details this year, because again, we've seen that the seeds at Tottenham are kind of really bright. There's a lot of green shoots there. How can we now build on that? How can we now take that to the next level? The players know what is asked of them, and I think it's just about taking that the next step up, really drilling in on the fine details, making us a proper team to compete. So I think that, mixed with those quotes from Ange from a while back, it's all starting to make sense, I think, for a lot of people. Let's go to the chat. I was saying it, but I was trying to find the correct way of spelling it. Yeah. Gary Hunter said that was a funny way of pronouncing Gary Hunter. Apparently, Gyökeres ex plays for Spurs women. Sam Cornish beat you to it, mate. Amanda Nilden and Victor Gyökeres. What I was trying to say was I think they would have beautiful children because they're both very good-looking people. Gyökeres, that chiseled jawline, and Amanda Nilden is, she's a beautiful lady. Shame about, again, Spurs women chat. Shame that it looks like Grace Clinton isn't going to be staying at Spurs next season. That's a shame. She put out this amazing post on Instagram, which I can get up as well when we come on to something else, it's such a shame. She was amazing for us, but it looks like she's going back to Man United. Ange's second year at Celtic was much better than the first. Yep. The problem was that a lot of our players, says John Michael, they aren't consistent enough to switch off, especially in big games. Again, I think that's something that hopefully you will see a change in this year, because I definitely think that last year in some of those big games, we actually showed the opposite of what you're saying there. Man City away and Arsenal away, we were able to really get through difficult periods and get a result. But I get what you mean in terms of that consistency. Wasn't this after the Eric Dyer situation when he came out saying that Ange doesn't do surgeon tactics in training? Maybe. I mean, the Eric Dyer overlap interview actually would have been around that kind of time, because it was Champions League quarterfinals, wasn't it? So potentially, yeah, potentially. I hear we're not going in for Chiesa, says Richie B. Yeah, I can't see that happening. We did talk about that at the start of the stream if you want to watch it back from the start. Bongo Jones says, I love how the fan base had a meltdown about Ange, no tactical training last season when it was obvious he was just laying foundations. Yeah, totally agree. And again, I think we're kind of seeing the fruits of that now, and also we're kind of hearing that in terms of what the players are saying. Sam, yeah, gone to play for United, who don't even have a training ground. It's an absolute mess, isn't it? It's such a shame that we couldn't keep hold of her, because I think she probably wanted to stay as well. But let's move on to... before I want to talk about Ben Davies, because Ben Davies did a great interview as well with Seb Stafford-Bloor for The Athletic. But before we come on to that, was this what I wanted to talk about? Oh, no. Let's talk about... Yeah, let's quickly talk about this. So the transfer stuff. So obviously, we kind of know what the plans are. This guy, I'll be honest, I think I had to mute this geezer. He tweeted this on the 29th of July and said, by the way, surely Lang being with Daniel Levy and Postecoglou is a good thing. We live in a digital world now. If true our targets have given a green light and it's waiting to happen, surely it's this week. Because if not, then it's panic stations. Literally a day later. Shouldn't he be sorting out the transfers? Absolutely no reason for him to be out there for anything other than a piss up. The duality of Tottenham fans, eh? Just wanted to check if anything has happened while we've been doing this. No, it looks like we're all good. Spurs are. Let's talk about Desiree Doué quickly. Plettenberg again, Pletty goal. Tweeted this yesterday. Desiree Doué's transfer decision has been postponed as Doué is now focused on the Olympics. PSG is still pushing harder in hopes for his commitment. Luis Campos and Nasser El Kafi are working on it. Bayern still want to sign him after Xavi Simons' decision. Xavi Simons has gone to Leipzig. The problem, Bayern's supervisory board could currently block a transfer of 55 to 60 million euros because no sale has been made. Bayern playing on time now. Again, it feels like it's been postponed because of the Olympics. Again, that just shows we've been kind of running into issues because of the tournaments, etc. with our business. And again, there was talk about Sane potentially leaving, but it feels like he's going to stay, so are they going to get the money for him? Mazraoui looks like he's leaving Bayern, so they could get the money for him. What I'm trying to say is that could we, while Bayern are kind of trying to get players out the door, could we swoop in again? Who knows? Probably not. Obviously, Simmons has decided to stay at Leipzig, which means Doué will kind of be their top target. So, yeah, we shall see about that. Again, on transfers, Bryan Hill is gone. That picture makes me laugh. Bryan Hill is officially gone now. Looks like it's a dry loan rather than any kind of clauses or details in that. Can we please stop talking about Doué? It just makes me sad. I know, mate. I'm sorry. Yeah, Bryan Hill's gone. This Tottenham rebuild, this is what I want to talk about as well. Obviously, with Hill now gone, Emerson on their way, this is what we're doing, guys. This is the kind of, we're clearing the decks, and I know it's frustrating that we haven't been able to bring in those kind of top quality targets over the line yet. But we're getting there, and we are getting these players out the door. Gone Perisic, gone Dyer, gone Lloris, gone Tanganga, gone Sessegnon, gone Ndombele, gone Rodon, gone Højbjerg, gone Hill. Emerson on their way. Lo Celso likely to be gone. Reguilon talks of him going back to Sevilla. Let's see if I can get that up. And Solomon, obviously, potentially on his way out as well. Oh, maybe not. There was talk about it yesterday. Bear with. Let me just pull that up. Because my mate sent it to me. This is it, yeah. Sergio Reguilon could return to Sevilla in the coming days. So Spurs are rebuilding. Spurs, you know, we're getting this deadwood out the door. And it's, you know, it's looking good, boys. It's looking good. Right. Next thing I wanted to talk about quickly was this. Luka Vuskovic, Tottenham shin pads. We talked about his excellent performance on the live stream yesterday. Travis in the chat, I think Lily White Lab did a nice little tweet with the link to the comp of him of the game. So if you want to go watch that, go and watch that. What else do we want to talk about? Oh, the Gallagher saga is finally over, lads. It's finally over. Atletico Madrid and Chelsea are now in direct talks for a Conor Gallagher deal. Negotiations underway for package around 35 million to 40 million euros. Add-ons included, requested by Chelsea. As you can probably see, the tweet from Zeus under there was a lot more for us fares. Like, there was no way that Chelsea would let him go to Tottenham for kind of around that fee. So that saga is done. That saga is definitely done, which is kind of relieving in a way. Okay. This is what I want to talk about next. We'll get onto the Spurs career stuff because there's some good stuff to chat about. This was an excellent interview. For people who haven't read this, Seb Stafford-Bloor did an interview with Ben Davies for The Athletic. I've got a couple of quotes that I want to talk about. There was this one about Ange. That's not where I want to start, though. Where was it? I had it. I had it as well. He spoke about Sonny. This is it. Okay, there we go. We're building towards something special, is what he said in The Athletic. Again, I feel like they can feel it within the club. Kind of where we're building and where we're going with the right manager and the players, etc. Everyone's kind of in harmony. And again, I think all of the Spurs kind of players feel that and feel that there's maybe a need to step up next season. So, yeah, let's go to the other quotes. Again, like Kulusevski spoke about Sonny, he said his public persona is the nicest guy in the world, and that's who he is. He's got a proper heart of gold, and he's really, really down to earth. I know he's this global superstar who everyone loves, but he's also the guy that when we're in the dressing room, we give him stick and treat him like a normal guy. Again, comes back to Kulusevski, what he was saying earlier about he's just himself. He's just himself. We give him stick and treat him like a normal guy. He's probably got a harder life than most of us, given all the stuff he can't do because of who he is. And again, we'll come on to that in terms of the Korean reception. He also spoke about Ange. He said the feel of the players and the external feeling around the club has got a lot better. You can just feel it when we get good results playing exciting football. There's just a weight that's been lifted off of us. He also spoke about playing for Postecoglou in another sense. 2-6. He spoke about him more kind of as a manager. He said he has a real effect on the team in the meeting room when he lays out his ideas and very clearly and sets his standards. There's no hiding if it's on the videotape. There's no harsh judgment or deep criticism. It's just made very clear what he expects. It's more a corrective style. If you make your mistakes trying to do the right things, that's completely fine because there's an acceptance. Just like in real life, mistakes happen. It's more about how you react to them. Again, that's so refreshing kind of to hear from a perspective of a manager and from the players. That it shouldn't be just like, again, we know that Postecoglou will shout and scream. We've seen that as Spurs fans, right? We've seen it on the touchline. But I think as a manager, day to day, in terms of teaching the players how he wants them to do things, I think it's very much of like, I feel it's very much of like, right, okay, this is what we can do better. This is how we correct it. I'm not going to scream at you because it's not going to go in that way, you know? So that was really positive. But this is a super interview, like super interview. Steb Stafford-Bloor is obviously an amazing journalist. So go and watch this. Go and read that if you've got a subscription to The Athletic. Let's talk about... this was an interesting one. Gary, there you are. Tottenham have identified Fiorentina right-back Michael Chiesa as the player they want to replace Emerson Royale. Fiorentina want over 20 million euros to sell him. I can't see that. I think Alistair Gold was very much saying, I know I reference Alistair Gold a lot, but he's the GOAT. He was saying that if Tottenham do sell Emerson Royale, the noise within the club is that they're not going to sign another right-back because obviously they've got Archie Gray. And even then, I think this was kind of before the little Jed Spence remontada. So, again, just like that picture there, like Gary, you tweeted, I think that's what you can say to those rumours. I don't think there's anything in that. I can't see Tottenham signing a right-back. And again on Jed Spence, and we'll come on and talk about the career stuff in a little bit. Everything's a competition for these guys. Jed Spence, front and centre of the training clips, yet again, with Spurs. So, yeah, good stuff. Right, what should we talk about now? Okay, let's talk about this. I think we're kind of done in terms of the transfer stuff. Let's talk about Korea. Tottenham have obviously landed in Korea. And they were in open training this morning. And where is it? Let's talk about some fitness bits. So, Destiny and Doggy doing individual running sessions as he steps up his recovery. Postecoglou has said, though, that he will not play tomorrow. Obviously, Spurs are playing against the K-League All-Stars tomorrow. I will be doing a live stream on TikTok, a watch-along for that. So come join me over there. The link's in the description to follow me on TikTok. I'm on the march to 30k. Want to get there before the start of the season for Spurs. And yeah, like I said, there will be a live stream on there tomorrow. Obviously, our first fixture in Seoul awaits. Watch our match against Team K-League live on Spurs Play Wednesday, 31st July, 12 o'clock kickoff tomorrow. So I'll be live from then. Obviously, a Doggy won't be fit. Looks like Richarlison won't be either. I'm not sure how involved Richie is in the training sessions. However, this was very funny. This did make me laugh. The Korean fan there in the pigeon costume, and there's Pombo, there's Richie. They love him, don't they? They absolutely love him, and I love him as well. And just like Windy says, I love him so much. I think there's another clip of Richarlison as well. Richarlison receiving a warm reception. There he is on the big screen. You can hear there the noise from the fans. Doesn't look like he's going to play a part tomorrow. No real official word on that as far as I'm aware. But obviously Destiny is up in his rehab doing individual running sessions. But I think it's just good for them to get out on the tour and train with the group, and hopefully they can play some part potentially against Bayern. Because we've only got 2 more games on the tour, and then it's back to business in England with the game against Bayern Munich. If anyone's going to the Bayern game, let me know. I will be there. And where are we now? This was interesting. Average age of the tour squad is 22.7 years. Oldest players on tour. Sonny's 32. The only 2 players over 30 on the tour are Son and Davies. And you've got Werner, 28, Vicario, 27, Maddison, Biss, and Richarlison, all 27 as well. And then everybody else is 25 or under. Again, kind of points to that rebuild that Spurs have been going through. This was Sonny leading the lads out. You can hear the reception. Look who's being led out. There's Mikey Moore front and centre. Sonny leading out. As well, Alfie Devine, a lot of the young lads. And they were training at the Seoul World Cup Stadium. Look how packed that is. A lot of people there. I'm going to the Bayern game, says John. Nice. Royale probably not playing tomorrow. Can I do a predicted start in 11? I could do a quick one. Again, it's very hard for a pre-season game. But one thing that we might be able to see, if you bear with me one sec, in the game tomorrow, is Radu Dragusin. He's back involved in training with the group. So maybe we'll see Dragusin start. Sorry if that was too loud, by the way. So Dragusin might be back. Pombo going global. Yeah, this was the clip of the girl in the pigeon costume. And I think that's pretty much it, lads. This was what I want to talk about. I'm not sure if we talked about these quotes from Mikey Moore the other day. I uploaded a video. I want to show you this, actually. I uploaded a video on TikTok about Mikey Moore yesterday. I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. He was talking about Mikey's been fantastic. He's earned his spot on the roster. We have to remember he's had some injuries, only 16. I think we did talk about that. But I want to talk about, quickly before we end it, I uploaded this video on TikTok yesterday talking about Mikey Moore. I think Mikey Moore can be England's next big breakthrough star, just like Phil Foden. I think he can be England's next big breakthrough star. But I want to know what you guys think in terms of Mikey's development. And I've titled the video Phil Foden 2.0. And that's not necessarily because I think he can hit the ceiling that Phil Foden did, although I definitely think he can. It's more about his development. So you guys, I want to let you watch the video and then see kind of what you think in terms of whether you agree in terms of his development. I think Mikey Moore can be England's next big breakthrough star, just like Phil Foden was for Man City those years ago. And I think Spurs can learn a lot from how Foden was developed at City to be the star that he's become. Foden was never loaned out in those years where he was developing at Man City. He was working under Pep Guardiola every single day and still smashing it in the under-21s. Guardiola was very careful with the minutes that he gave him. City fans were desperate to see him come on. While in the weeks, he was still continuing to smash it for the under-21s, continuing to learn his game, continuing to play that City way. Man City have notoriously, since Guardiola's come in, made their youth players play in exactly the same setup in those youth sides like the first team do. And that is something that is in place now with Ange Postecoglou at the helm at Spurs. Those youth sides play in the same mould as the first team, making it easier for those younger players to step up, especially those attacking players. Phil Foden made his Premier League debut when he was older than what Mikey Moore was when he made his debut against Man City last season. Mikey Moore was 16 years of age and Phil Foden was 17. In that first season where he made his debut, he made 10 appearances in the Premier League, then 26 the year after, and then 38 the year after that. And I want to see a very similar development plan in place for Mikey Moore at Spurs over the next couple of years. I don't want to see him go out on loan. I want to see him working with the first team every day. I want to see him working with Ange Postecoglou so that when he's ready to make that step up and be that regular first team player, he knows exactly how we want to play. He knows exactly what his role is. I genuinely believe for talents like this, that is the model. I think you'll see something similar with Ranieri at Arsenal. I don't think he'll go out on loan. Phil Foden was never loaned out while he was at City. He was working under Guardiola all the time. I think it's better for an attacking player as well, especially when you play on the front foot, especially with experienced players in the team. I think everything is there for Mikey Moore to become a star at Tottenham. And I think keeping him at the club, working with the first team, giving him opportunities in Europe and in the Cups and in the Premier League next season at a slow rate, easing him into first team football regularly, then he will become that star in a few years' time. I think Mikey Moore can be England's next.
So what do you guys think about that? So obviously, look, calling him the next Phil Foden is heaping a lot of pressure and praise on Mikey, but I think there are shouts within the club that they think he's good enough to almost be that. But I think it's just more in terms of like his development. I don't want to really see him loaned out. We obviously didn't see that with Foden. I don't think you'll see that with talents at other clubs like Ranieri at Arsenal if they really believe that he's going to go to the top. I think it's just about keeping him in and around the first team setup, keeping him in and around with Ange. Obviously, they see Ange as a manager for the long term. And I think that's the best way to develop him. He's going to learn by playing kind of games. Obviously, Guardiola fed Foden minutes, kind of really piecemeal minutes. But I think there was a clamour from the City fans to see him. They wanted him to play. They wanted to see him. And he kind of held him back a lot. And I think that's maybe what we'll see with Mikey next season. But I think being in the Europa League, the context is slightly different for Spurs in terms of the fact that obviously City were in the Champions League at that time, Spurs were in the Europa League. I think Mikey Moore will get more minutes in the Europa League than Foden did at the Champions League at that age. And I think as well, like, it's easier almost for an attacking player, because I think that when especially when you've got experience in the squad, like Tottenham do, and like Man City did at that time, a lot of attackers kind of at the peak of their careers, like Sonny, Maddison, obviously you got Kulusevski kind of on that come up as well, in terms of players that have been around a lot, for Mikey Moore to come in and work with. And if he's coming off the bench and playing with some of these players, you've seen it already in pre-season, like there's not really that pressure there for Mikey to come on and just go and play. And I think that's what we'll see. And I think that would have definitely been the case with Foden last season. Like I said in the video, Foden made his debut for Man City when he was older than what Mikey did when he made his debut for Tottenham against Man City last season. So I'd like to see, again, it's not completely the same because, again, like I said, there's context to it with City being in the Champions League in those years, etc. So I think there'll be more minutes for Mikey Moore next year, but I don't want to see him go out on loan. And I'm not just talking about next season either. I don't really want to see him go out on loan full stop. Again, I think he's too young to be loaned now for sure anyway, but I just want him to keep smashing it with the younger age groups when he can, but also be involved in and around the first team and play in those European games and play in those cup games and get minutes off the bench in the Prem as well. And I think we'll see a lot of that next season. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about with Mikey. Again, Archie Gray getting a very nice reception in career as well. This was lovely. You guys are on a big screen. Listen to the reaction there. He loves it. I think, like I said this in the stream yesterday. Alistair Gold spoke about Archie Gray and said that he's the most mature 16? Talks about Mikey Moore. He's the most mature 18-year-old that he's ever spoken to. He's like the nicest kid you'd ever meet. So I definitely think you see that with Archie and the maturity there. This is a great point as well. Someone just replied to tweet. This is something people don't understand. South Korean fans don't just care about Son. There is a huge fan base that got introduced to the club by Son. It's not just a Son base. Can't get my words out. Not just a Son fan base in South Korea. Totally agree with that. On Mikey Moore, quickly before we end it, there is a video on the channel uploaded. When was it? There. Why Mikey Moore is the future of Tottenham. Again, go and give that a watch. We're closing in on 1.7k. We're closing in on 2k. I very much hope we'll get there this week potentially. So go and subscribe. There's a lot of good videos in there for you to go and watch. Massively appreciate your support. Like I said, go and follow me on TikTok as well. And yeah, everything's feeling good. Everything's feeling all right at Spurs at the moment. As well, there will be... like I said, there'll be a video on the channel later on today ranking every Premier League wonder kid in the Premier League. There'll be a tier list video for that. Also, later on today, I will be hosting this Twitter space on the JLA channel on Twitter. Our Premier League transfer window. Royal Rumble kicks off this time tomorrow. This is at 7:30 tonight. I'll be speaking on there. I'll be representing Tottenham. I'll also be hosting the space, so make sure you tune into that 7:30. You can set a reminder by clicking that link. Let me actually put the link in the chat. So go and paste that into your browser. Go and set a reminder for that. I've got some good people on there. And yeah, that's pretty much your lot. Guys. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Like I said, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video. There'll be another live tomorrow morning looking ahead to the K-League All-Stars game. And then I'll be live on TikTok for a watch-along as well for that. So lots more coming. There'll be a video breaking down the K-League All-Stars game on the channel on Thursday as well. And then there's much more content planned throughout the week as well. I'm going to be doing a tier list video ranking every Premier League Tottenham transfer rumour at some point this week as well. And like I said at the start of the stream, let me know what you guys want to see, what kind of stuff you want to hear from me. Let me know in the comments of this video as well, because I'm going to end the stream now. So get in the comments. Let me know what content you want to see. Let me know your thoughts on Tottenham in the transfer window and everything that we've discussed. And to anyone that's watching this who's not been watching it live, You can come and join me usually around 10:30, 11 a.m. every weekday morning to kind of come through and chat through bits on here. Like I said, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like the video. Thanks to everyone for joining, and up Spurs.